use the press pull command next, using the control key on my keyboard to continue that press pull command through that same direction as the rest of the part. So again, I just used press pull. Before I selected the face on the object, I was holding down my control key on my keyboard. And that allows me to be able to then to continue the part through the direction it was going. If you were to just use regular press pull on that part, I'll show you what would happen because we're going to delete this part anyway. If I just use regular press pull there, it's going to go straight down just like that. So that's why you may want to use your control key to change the way that the press pull object or press pull command runs as you're trying to do different things like this. Anyways, I do need to miter this to this. And for me to do that, I need to do the interfere again. We'll go interfere from there to there. All right, and then we're going to use the slice command through this object and through this object as well. We're going to do a 3-point slice, and we're going to go from this corner to this corner and then across that way. So that way we can delete this part. Oops, this red piece, which is our interfere object. If I can get to it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, if I can get to it. There we go. Cool. So it'll be something like that. Okay. And then if you wanted to take it a step further, we could even draw in the angle as well. So we can either scale off of this, or if we had a drawing which showed the angle, we could pull it from that too. But I don't think we have an actual drawing of this. So what I'm going to do is try to get some dimensions on here. So, okay, so it looks like it's probably a 3x3 angle. And we can also try to figure out how thick this angle is as well, if it lets me get close enough to do it. There we go, it's better. Okay, so it's 3/8 tall, 3/8 thick by 3x3. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that real quick. I'm going to use it, use just some standard lines here. I'm going to go 3 inches by 3 inches. And I'm going to offset this line 3/8 by, or sorry, 3/8 out, so 0.375. All right, fillet. I'm going to do fillet with a radius of 0 to be able to capture this corner, clean that up. All right, I think I did mess that up a little bit, but I'm going to fix that. All right, 0.375. I need to make sure this is overall 3x3. 3, 3, and 3. Should be 3/8 thick. There we go, 3/8 thick. Okay, so now that I have that, I can press pull this thing. But before I do that, I guess I need to know how long is this part. So let's find that out real quick. So from here, yeah, come on, 16 inches. Huzzah. All right, press pull, 16. And then we need to do some 3D rotate magic, and we're going to flip this guy so it's facing the right way using that green Y axis. All right. Right on. There we go. Paste it right in the middle. I think it's centered on that stringer. Woo. Come on. Having the hardest time over here. All right. What's crazy, and I don't know if you can change it, but the scroll settings in here are inverted from AutoCAD. So when you scroll to zoom in AutoCAD, it would be essentially zooming out. So it's really messing me up. It's not like I'm doing that on purpose. It's like as I'm switching between AutoCAD and this viewer, it's like switching completely, like the way that you would go about zooming in and out to cat, or like to be able to see things differently. Anyways, so, all right, now that we're here, we've got that all figured out. Let's go back to putting these vertical posts in. So going back to the architectural or the steel drawing that we were looking at before our lunch, we're taking a look at this detail here, detail B on page 05, where it says that these are 4x6 and 1/4 inch thick walls. So they are 4x6 tube steel with 1/4 inch thick walls. So we're going to drop those in. Let's go 6 on that side, 4 inches on this side, and we'll just make it 16 inches tall for right now. All right. Now, before we get any further, put it on the by others layer, and then we're going to do another shell command. So again, that is up in your 3D modeling toolbar under solid, and then shell is a little bit over to the right-hand side. Again, shell is going to allow you to pretty much hollow out these parts. There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do with this now is I'm going to put it on the center midpoint of our stair tread. And then from there, I got to get it slid over so it's facing, or so it's like centered on this, but also still in the same. So I just got to slide it over a little bit. So we'll go distance check, DI, from there to the center of our stringer. And that looks like in the Y direction there, in the green direction there, it's a 9-inch difference. So we're going to go and move this 9 inches over. Okay. And then from there, I just need to do another 3-point slice to be able to chop this so it's in the same angle as the stringer. So slice, 3 points, boom, boom. And then I got to find another point on this line. Now, if you can't find one thing you can do is you can hold down Shift and right click on your mouse, and you can use this object here called, or snap setting here called nearest. You will want to be careful with it because nearest, what it does is it will pick anything that's on that line, but you want to be careful not to pick like a point on the inside of that. You know, you want to be like on this actual line here. So once I've done that, I can hit B, keep both sides, and then I need to find, 1 minute, I need to hide this and then delete this little extra tidbit there and unhide again. Kind of like that. So we're going to have one of those underneath each step. So just like what we did earlier when we were working on these, we can take a copy command or either copy or copy base. You could do either one. But you want to pick a base point that correlates to each thread. So if I click this corner here, then I got to remember that when I paste it, every time I paste it, I want to drop it right where that corner is on each thread. So just like this, and we're going to go all the way up the stairs, one piece at a time. Or if you're like a music junkie, you guys have heard of Jordan Sparks, right? Oh, shoot. Oh,
Yes.
that's okay. You have, okay. I was going to say like her song One Step at a Time.
Step at a time.
Exactly. It's like learning to fly or falling in love.
I've always been told I'm an uncultured swine, so
Come on, dude. I'm sure you've got some taste in music, right? You got a
define
favorite
taste.
You got a favorite band?
Ooh, depends on what I'm in the mood in. But I do like let's see, what's the name of that band? Hailstorm.
Okay. So you're kind of like into the heavier stuff?
Kinda, yeah.
That's cool.
I was real big into the early, like the early 2000s style of rock,
Mm-hmm.
like Nickelback and Linkin Park and all that.
That's cool too. Jordan, do you have a favorite band or anything? Or is it just vary depending on the day?
Oh, it definitely varies. My music taste is kind of like all over the place.
Oh,
Listen to so many different genres. I could never pick like one.
well, that's all right. Hmm, I know I have a hard time with that too. Like I kind of like all different types of music, and just depending on my mood is like what I'm going to be listening to that day. But I will say that I have heard of Hailstorm. I've not seen them, but I've heard of them. Um, I have seen because Hailstorm kind of reminds me of like In This Moment a little bit. I've seen them like once or
Mhm.
twice. They're pretty good too. Ah, I think I've seen them. I think they play with Corn a lot, if I remember right.
Kern.
All right. We also got to figure this out too. We're not off the hook just yet. Um, there's this weird gusset plate that's happening up at the top, underneath that one tread, that little baby tread up top. And I don't know if we can really get a good glimpse of it here in their drawings, but I kind of want to see what it looks like in their model too. Um, oof, again, gotta switch back into zooming in with the other direction of my mouse. Um, we may be able to see it just ever so slightly if I was to hide some of this stuff. I'm gonna try to see if I can get to it. Hide, dang it. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, that's a good view of it. So at the very top of the stairs, we still have that standard plate below this tread, and they have these little triangular pieces of steel. Those are usually called gussets whenever you see like a triangular piece like that. Um, really, it's there to help distribute the stress of the steel so it doesn't end up wanting to bend or anything over time. Um, helps distribute that weight into like the actual vertical face of this instead of just straight up and down. So that's a gusset plate there. Um, also, it looks like one thing we gotta maybe look out for too. Um, that's real trippy, but it looks like this plate actually might cut into the side of this tread. So we're gonna have to be careful about that too. Kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see where it overlaps right there. Whoops, where this is kind of chopping into it a little bit. I don't know if that's really the case. I'll go back to their drawing and see if it shows it that way too. I guess it would because technically your tread, the bottom of your tread is right here. And so this little tab, because it sticks out past the side of the tread, is going to have to cut out or be notched out of the back of the tread. That's not a big deal. It's just kind of a weird detail. Okay. Um, okay. That's not a big deal though. I think we can make that work. I just wanted to see what that looked like in 3D because since we are fortunate enough to have a 3D model of this, I just wanted to take a peek at that. Okay. Well, let's see. They do give us dimensions on that plate. It says that it's 6 feet wide by 18 inches tall and a half-inch thick. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to draw that plate in. See, we said it was, what, a half-inch thick, and it is 6 feet wide, so 72 inches wide, and it is 18 inches tall. All right. So that needs to then, looks like it actually is going to, sorry, I got to line this up just right. Okay. Because if you remember, right, when we were talking about this earlier, this plate appears to, like the tread is a 1/4 inch shorter than, like this plate sticks out a 1/4 inch further than the tread. It's kind of hard to explain that one, but what I'm going to do is move this in 0.25 this way, which kind of makes sense so far. So far, so good. This plate here, gonna have to modify this block. It looks like that steel plate is gonna have to shrink a 1/4 of an inch for this to sit right here, because they can't overlap. So it's gonna have to move a little bit. That's okay. That's why we put everything in blocks, because then you can edit it later too. So let's go ahead and open up the block editor for this tread, the baby tread. Let's see if I can go ahead and edit that. So while you're in here in the block editor, it is a little limited. You can still edit things in 3D, but like let's say if I want to press pull this, it should let me use the press pull command and it shouldn't give me any problems there. But it does have some limitations though to it. So, okay. So not only do we need to do that while we're in here, but that plate also is taking out a portion of, whoops, see if they'll let me do this too. It's taking out a portion of the, this guy right here. So we're gonna have to remove that. So what I'm gonna do, because your plate's sitting right there, 0.25. Let's make it the same size of the plate, I guess. 72 and then 18. All right, then we just gotta line it up with where the plate sits, which is kind of like right in line with the top of the other plate. So it's gonna be like right about here, okay? So a couple things we gotta do. We gotta subtract out anything that's interfering with this plate. And keep in mind, when you do use the subtract command, as you are using that, it will delete the object you're using to subtract away from the original. So if I was to, I'm just going to make a copy of this off to the side for a second for example purposes. If I wanted to subtract from this wood panel and I wanted to remove this panel, like the metal plate, I can do that. But the second I end the command, that plate disappears and it's just gone. So a lot of times what you'll see me do whenever I have to subtract multiple objects like that is I'm going to make several copies of that plate. So I'm just literally copying and pasting it over and over again in the same spot. And usually once I get enough of them in there, sometimes I'll copy another set, but I'll just leave it for now. So the important thing is you need to have multiple copies of that, because as soon as you use the subtract command, the original will disappear. So what I'm going to do next is like take this solid piece underneath, subtract out this piece, and then I'm going to keep going on this. So original, subtract, original, subtract. And it works a lot like the interfere command, because you do have to hit enter and then select your next object. Just like that. But by the time you're done though, you should be left with something like this, which honestly, if you do have those plates there so you can get rid of them, I'm gonna get rid of these extra lines because they're not needed anymore. So we should have a nice route through the back of this stair, which is representing where that plate is going to be. So that route goes all the way through. Once we're done, we can save changes and close the block editor. We just click that green check up there. Hit save changes to the top tread block. And then you can see that notch is applied to that area of the drawing, and it should also be applied to this one too, because we did make that a block. So anything we change to the one below happens to this one up here too. All right, cool. Cool. Okay. So let's go ahead and put this on the existing layer so that it matches the, or no, it would be on the by others layer, I'm sorry. Let's make that by others. There we go. Okay, so that should be pretty representative of what we're seeing here. If I spin my model around just slightly enough so you can see what's happening. Oops, flip it the other way, like that. Should resemble this. I don't have the gussets on here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have the gussets on here yet, but we can add those in if we'd like. Those are just little tiny 2x2 by 1/2 inch triangles, so shouldn't be a big deal. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. So I gotta check one little thing real quick. Emails be rolling. Huh. I think that's literally the same as the other one. Sorry, I gotta look at one more thing. Sorry, guys. I just gotta check one little thing. I got an email about a drawing that they need some help with, and pretty sure we have one existing that looks almost identical to it. I think P16, no, P15. One we just looked at. I want to check something though to see if this glass detail's on there. I can't remember if that's part of this one too. Maybe not, but it's pretty dang close. All right. Let's see who was on this one. This is a Merrick drawing. Okay. I'll see if he can help out with this. All right, better write this down. Ooh. All right. Loading shelves. Oh, they're right there. All right, 1 sec. Oh gosh. Oh goodness. Oh my gosh.
Hey, Jacob.
Yeah.
I need to run out to my truck real quick to grab something.
Oh, sure. That's cool. Sorry. I know I kind of got segued here. I gotta answer a question real quick. But yeah, you're good. You're good if you want to go do that real quick. And boom. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Do, 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 do. All right. Oh. Oh, shoot. Ah, there it goes. All right, and then I gotta reply back here about the shelf, which I already have it typed up, but it's gotta hit send. All right. Okay. Sorry, we'll go back to it. Just had to get a couple of questions answered here for some people's. All right. Now that we're back, all right, we can proceed with adding those gussets here to the drawing. So again, gussets are real simple. Just a little triangle. It's a 2x2 triangle with a 1/2 inch thickness applied to it. And it looks like they have this as ×4, meaning that they want 4 of these gussets on this plate. We can always go back to the model that we had received here to see about spacing on those gussets to see if we can kind of get an idea of where they would be. Maybe. See if I can pull some dims. Oh, look at that. Can I get the midpoint, please? Of course, you're not going to let me grab it. Dang it. All right, that's fine. We got this. We got this. We already know that it's a 1/2 inch thick, so 13.5. All right, and then what else do we got over here? Got one more to dimension, if I can get to it. So about 23.75, roughly. Middle one is spaced at 13.5 in between. All right. So 23.75, I'm going to say, from one gusset to the outside gusset. Middle one would be 13.5 in between. Then another 23.75 for the other one. Okay. Here we go. Should just about do it. Cool. All right, let's get these gussets in. Go back to our drawing. Looks like I'm playing Minecraft over here with how pixely that that veneer is, or that solid is on that drawing. All right. All right. Let's draw it in. Now, I've never actually really used the wedge, but we can give it a shot. I wonder how this works. Let's try it out. So 2 by 2. I don't know if that's going to work. I probably messed that up. Maybe it's 2 by 0.5 by 2. Aha, that's how you use it. I've never actually used wedge before. I always use box for everything pretty much, and cylinder when I have to punch holes through things, but the I guess wedge you could use it for stuff like this, but we don't really draw gussets very often, so it's probably not going to be very useful for most things that we do. Anyways, what I would like to do is kind of draw these in. I'm going to start to space these out. So we know we have a total of 4 gussets. The first one in between, we said that was about 23.75. The next one in the middle there looks like it has a space of about 13.5. And then the last one again was about 23.75. From there to there. All right, now let's take these and I'm going to go shift right click mid between 2 points. And I'm going to try to get the dead center of these so I could line them up in the center of my my plate here. See if I can get this to work. Or I could just do mid between 2 points again, since I can't really get to that midpoint very easily. So it gives me my gussets right about there. I think I gotta lower them though. I gotta lower them. Oh, sorry. Goofing up. I might have to get some coffee on the next intermission. All right. So I'm lowering them 0.5 so that they're touching the bottom of the plate and they're touching the plate on the side wall here. Cool. All right. Now, let's keep on moving. What else do we got to go on and do here? We've put in all our vertical plates. We put in our stringers. We put in the gussets and back plate. There is another 3 by 3 by 3/8 angle that's attaching to the side of this, which we could throw that in there too if we want. I mean, this is probably a little bit overkill because this doesn't interact with our scope, but it doesn't hurt to show it in there anyway because it is going to be there. So again, I could either redraw that angle or because I know that I have it down here, I can copy it. It's again the same size, 3 by 3 by 3/8. And we just got to know how tall it is then, which I think our dimension for that's right over there at 9 inches tall. All right, cool. All right, let's see if we can get this to be 9 inches then. And what it is currently is 16. So we got to come down 7 inches to make that 9, just like that. Should be 9 now. Yes, sir. All right, 3D rotate this thing around. Just like that. And then what we're going to do is we are going to figure out where this needs to sit. So we are provided a dimension from the top. Looks like 9 and 15/16 plus a ½ inch, I think. Okay, there we go. That would be from the floor to the top of our angle. So that's a total of 10.4375. Oh, 10.4375. Whoops. 10.4375, not 1. All right. So I got a line here that's that exact dimension. It's going to be that height down from there. So what we need to do is kind of figure out a good placement for that line. So you can see it's at that corner right now. I'm going to try to move it. It's a 1/4 inch back that way. And then we can drop this to be right there. And then we just have to scooch that over so that it's touching the side of our stringer now at that point. So I'm using the DI or distance check again to check what my X direction or my Y direction is that way, which looks like 6 inches. So we can just slide that over 6 inches now, like that. There we go. And I can get rid of that line. Ah, all right. So that's our little angle there that's holding the stringer to this plate. All right. Well, now that we've gotten to this point, we've pretty much got the entirety of the stringer construction built. There's really not much else to add there. So what I would like to do is I'll probably group that stringer together, including all these little guys here, these plates going up it. Because we want to make sure that these all stay together. Every time we go to select it, we don't want to have to keep reselecting every time. So go ahead and select all this stuff, group it all together. So now if I wanted to, what I can do, I can use the mirror command, take this stringer, and I'm going to take the center point or the midpoint of my stairs. Ooh, come on. There we go. And mirror it over. So that way I have one on either side, just like what they have in their model and their drawing there. So then go back to here. You can see both of those. Got one on either side of that staircase right there. So now we got those two modeled. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Next, what else we got? What else we got? Oof. I mean, aside from doing the actual post, that's pretty much it for that staircase. So that this one going from 19 to 20, aside from these posts, is good to go. So we have done a pretty decent job there. What I'm going to do is go ahead and save here, make sure that we don't lose anything. And then we got to do that kind of same process up above here, which luckily for us, a lot of this is going to be nearly the same, with the exception that the landing is going to be stretched out a little bit less, or it's going to be shrunk in the case of the one above. The other thing that might be a little different is when you get to the floor, because we don't have a planter on this staircase up above, the detail of what's happening between the stringer and the floor is actually a little different. So that's going to change slightly. Not a huge deal breaker, but what's going on up top should be the same, which I can't really see it very well, but in here should be the exact same details what's going on down here at this location. So I guess before we really go off the deep end here, what we can do is we can copy this, Let's see, I'm going to move it 500 inches up right now, just arbitrarily set a certain height to it so it's not in the way. I'm going to ungroup this stringer because it will be a little bit different than the one that we have down below. But what I can do is I could probably figure out from the bottom of the current top stringer to here, what is that distance? So from there to there, 335.9375. Okay. So what I'm going to do is copy this part. And again, wait, or 335.9375. I'm taking the top portion of that and moving it down to here. Whoops, I guess I must have did something a little weird. I think I know what I did. 6 and 9/16. I think I just forgot to include that part of it. Yeah, that's all it was. Okay. So that's in the right location. We got to redo a little bit of this detail here, which I can start by taking what we already had. Actually, realistically, you know what? I'm going to see what I can do is maybe just isolate these parts, because I remember what we did before was our landing actually grew 30 inches. So in this case, we're going to shrink it 30 inches here. So we'll use 3D stretch. We're going to highlight all of that and bring it 30 inches back this way. So we're shrinking the entire landing by 30 inches, meaning that the steel is also going to shrink by 30 inches here too. So unhide everything again. And we can move all of this down. I'm going to use this base point here to snap to that base point there. Okay. That's not too shabby. Like, that's actually pretty dang accurate, but we do need to actually fix this condition here. So this needs to carry through. It can't stop there because there's really no floor underneath of it at this time. See if I can get a view of that on their drawings here, because I bet you they have one. Oh, right there. Wish they had a blow up of it, but you can kind of see that right there. So it's similar to what's going on up top, but just slightly different. Okay. So that would kind of carry through like that. We'll need to add more of these little tiny plates like we have been doing. Going again, one step at a time there. Boom. All right, cool. Now that we've added those two in, now we got to figure out, okay, what is going on right here? Now, it's easier said than done, especially if you have a detail, but in this case, it doesn't really appear like they drew a detail of it unless they just forgot to call it out. But we can make this work. I mean, we've got enough information to get it drawn. Let's see. Yeah, we don't have any blowups of it, but we got the model. You know, that's decent enough. Got the model, plus we got this drawing, which is close. It's not a very bad drawing. It's just, I wish we had a more zoomed in version of it. So, all right. See what we can figure out though. Looking at this, I mean, we know that the floor has to be 6 and 9/16 down from the step. So that's a given because all of our steps are the same height. So the floor line has to be here. Anything lower or higher than that would be, you couldn't really do that. So that has to be where the floor sits. And since we know that, that means we know what this line is here. Okay. So now let me think about this. I guess we could look at the model and see if we can piece together anything here. Hmm. Oh. All right. Let's find that little area that we're trying to focus in on here. So we are, ooh, I almost have a really good view of it right now. All right. But I need to hide some of this junk. Get out of here. Okay. Hide selected. Hide selected. Hide selected. Okay. We're finally getting somewhere. Look at that. All right. Here's what we need. So we're trying to figure out this detail here. So what in the heck is going on? So, okay. So there is a little gap here. I'm willing to bet it's probably a 1/2 inch gap. That's what we've been dealing with a lot here. All right. All right. Let's see. Gotta send over one little thing real quick. I'm trying to help people out with getting some more work over to them too while we're chatting here. So let's see, where is that email from Ron? He sent it over earlier today. Here it is. All right, cool. All right. Anyways, let's see what we got. So there's a 1/2 inch gap between the stringer and this plate. This plate is also going to be a 1/2 inch thick. I can scale it to see what the height of it is. And then we got to figure out locating dimensions for this plate too. Just try to figure out how high up off the ground it is. So it's 18 inches there. And from, let's see, where's the floor? I think I hid the floor. Yep, I hid the floor. But it's 18 inches tall. So I'm going to write that down here while we're talking. 18-inch tall plate. Got it. Okay. And then we need to figure out the width of this plate, which I'd be willing to bet it's probably the same as the other plate that we just drew. Let's try to see if we can figure that out. Goodness gracious. All right. 72. So 18 by 72 wide. And then got to figure out how high up from the floor or how low below the floor it sits. So in order for me to do that, I guess I got to unhide some stuff. So I got to go back a step. All right, well, there is the plate. Maybe it'd be easier to see it in. Yeah, you could see a little better on this view. Wonder if I could scale this one and see if that might give us the answer that we're looking for. So this is a 3/4 inch equals a foot scale for this view. And I'm just trying to figure out from the floor down to here what that equals out to be. Looks like 1.5 inches. Okay, that's not too bad. All right, let's get that plate drawn in. Now that we have all the information I think we need now. Actually, I may need to know this too. It looks like 2 inches. Okay, cool. All right, let's go. So we need a box. We're going to draw in a 3D box. It'll be a 1/2 inch thick. It'll be 72 inches wide, and it's going to be 18 inches tall. Okay, we're going to take that box. We're going to drop it in over here. Somewhere. There we go. Let's get it centered on our steps for right now. We're going to take that. We're going to move it in 2 inches from that face to match this dimension, although it's really hard to see. That's what I was trying to scale out there. It's how far this is from, let me clean this up a little bit. There we go. So from there to the edge of the inside of that plate, looks like it's 2 inches. So we're going to make sure that we get that right. All right, 2 inches in from there. And then this needs to come down. Sorry. Let's see, 5 and a 16th. That looks about right. Okay, we'll do that then. 5 and 1/16. And we'll just check it and see if anything else if there's anything else that doesn't really make sense here. So I think we've got it though. Yeah, that actually does look about right because it does look like it's almost in line with the bottom of that stringer, even though there's a gap there. And we've got it pretty well squared away, like it's almost there. So I would say what we're going to do next is we're going to take that stringer and we want to add in that gap, which eyeballing it, it looks like a 1/2 inch. I can also scale it here. Looks like it is a 1/2 inch, so not too shabby. Drawing a line at 0.5 right there. And we're going to slice the stringer right there to match up with that line we just drew. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So that's kind of that plate below our tread right there. It also has one of these angles that's sitting on there, a 3 inch by 3 inch by 3/8, and it's 1 foot tall. All right, so we're going to add that in here as well. Probably just steal the one from up here. And this one was 9 inches, right? Test my memory. It is. All right, well, now it's 12. All right, just spin this around using 3D rotate. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop it so it's sitting here and then a 1/2 inch this way because of that gap. Okay. And the last thing we need to do is try to get it lined up vertically with where it needs to be. It is pretty close to the top of the stringer here. If you're looking at that, looks like a 1/4 inch shy of the top of that stringer. So if I lower this down, let's try to see what it would need to be for that to work. It's 1 inch low right now, so we'll go 0.75 up to get it to be a 1/4 inch from the top of that stringer. I can just double check with a distance DI check and just check it out. It's 0.3. Okay, so I need to actually come up a little bit higher than that by 0.05. Wow. I don't know how I goofed that one up. Yep, there it is. There it is. Okay, cool. Finally past the boring part. All right, put this on the bio. There's layer, just like the rest of it. And then just like earlier, we're gonna mirror that stringer and all of its components. But I wanna try to make sure that I'm grouping all of that first. So I'm gonna group all of this together. Just like that, group all that together. So now it's all pieced like that. And then I'm going to use that mirror command one more time. And just like we did down below, I'm going to use the middle of this plate and mirror it so that way we have both sides of our stringers there. So yeah, kind of cool. Got the skeletal structure of our staircase, and I actually don't need that extra one now anymore. I can get rid of that. So I am going to save this right now. Not that it's getting laggy or anything. I just don't want to risk losing any of this because we've made some pretty good progress here. Then let's see, what do we want to do next? Do you guys want to do the handrail? I guess that's really the only thing left to do.
Don't matter to me. How's your voice feeling?
Pretty awful, but that's okay.
Okay. Well,
It's all right.
if it's not feeling that great, like Jordan, would you be okay if we just finish this up tomorrow morning?
I'm good with whatever you guys want to do. I was kind of hoping to
Yeah.
get like the staircase modeled completely today, but I can work with you guys tomorrow morning on it some more too.
Yeah,
Hmm.
well,
just-
if I wouldn't be here, but as long as it's
Oh, that's right.
recorded, I'd
It's
be
Tuesday.
okay with it.
Okay. I'll be sure to record it then. But yeah, I was gonna say like I can keep going, but I can tell my throat's getting sore just from talking too much. It's
Well, we don't need you to throw out your voice just
throughout my
for
voice.
yeah.
I'm happy doing this stuff. Like um I really enjoy working with you guys on this type of stuff, especially if it's something that, gives you something to learn from and, maybe eventually there it goes. My voice is dying. Anyways, I was gonna say, and if it gets you comfortable with working on other things other than cabinets and in more into the 3D realm of things, I mean, that's what's really important. So if you guys are looking to, you could practice working on this if you'd like to, or if you have other things on your list, like Cody, I know you got one more correction to work through. And I've got a couple things I can work on in the meantime, getting caught up with drawing checks and also with seeing how the United Center is going and got a couple little side questy things to take care of today too. So, um, well, actually, Jordan, how long are you going to be in today?
I'll be in here till like 5, so it's like
Okay.
yeah, I'll be here for another like 3 hours.
Okay. I was going to ask, I didn't even see that the other day. Anyways, I was going to ask if you have time. I don't know what you have on your list right now, or if you got anything on there at the moment, because I know it's kind of slim pickings right now. No, it looks like you don't got anything on there at the moment. I have a couple of floating shelves that Rod's asking for some help with. And Merrick said he'd jump on it after he's done with his red lines, but I was going to say, if you got time and you want to help out with this, I'd be happy to walk you through it. It's for Piedmont. I was thinking it was for Truist. It's for Piedmont. We have two floating shelves above this restroom toilet. And it just says that they're 24 inches wide by 8 inches deep. And they're calling them at 2 inches tall, but I'm going to ask if we can make those at 2.25 tall. Only because if we do them at 2.25 tall, it's going to be easier for us to use like one of those in-wall brackets for it. If you got some time and you don't mind helping with that, I'll make a packet for you are you feeling like you might be up for it? It's really not
Yeah,
that much of anything, but it's something anyway.
yeah, I could probably do that.
Okay. I'll make you a packet for it. I don't think that we have one currently, so I'll make you one real quick and I'll send it over to you on Teams. But this is for Piedmont Health, and Piedmont Health is project number. Oof. Sorry, I gotta find the job number on this one. Piedmont is 6382. And because it is a laminate shelf, let's see what's the next available laminate drawing. L37 looks like. Oh, all right. I'll make a packet real quick while we're on the phone here. Ah. I'm the only one making packets today. 4, 5, 7, 9, 3. It's going to be, sorry, what did we say? L32. Or sorry, L37 question mark. L37, I think, is the right one. All right. Room number. Whew. It's like CEO restroom. 2350. Okay, that would be it. 2350. Goodness gracious. CEO restroom. Level 25, and it's on 2 high 8.02. Six, 3, 8, 2. This thing takes forever. I don't know if you've ever seen anybody put packets in before. I'm literally waiting for the hamster wheel to load the job number 6382 so I could finish putting this in for you. It's killing me. This was kind of my morning this morning. I was making packets for the United Center job, and I had to keep, like, I would type in a certain amount, and then I would just have to wait for it to load because it would start getting buggy. Oh, there it goes. Loading shelves. Level 25. Or no, 23, sorry. CEO restroom. 2350. Oh. Ah. And I'll put it on drafting, and I will give you that drawing. Oh, ha. All right, wrong view. There it is. There it is. Boom. All right. Consider yourself packeted. All right. The drawing for it too, if you can't find it in the folder, I just put it in that drafting chat too. But
Yeah, I got it.
okay, I was gonna say that's pretty much it though. So, all right. Yeah, if you want to work on that and let me know when you're all ready to go. Well, I guess you can mark it review once you're done because it has a packet now. But if you want to go ahead and do that, Cody, you can work on your correction that you have left, and then we'll figure out a game plan from there.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, we'll be doing our handrails tomorrow morning, it sounds like, and then we'll be out of there.
That's good.
Mhm. All right. I'll see you guys in a little bit then.
Sweet. Thanks, Jake.
Yep. All right. Bye, guys.